Ever dream of stepping onto a stage lights hitting just right to share your expertise with a room full of eager listeners and getting paid handsomely for it?
Well, today's deep dive is your backstage pass to making that dream a reality. We're cracking open Booked, the insider's guide for speakers selling to associations.
Now, before you think associations, really,
Trust me, this book uncovers a hidden gem in the speaking world.
it really is a niche many overlook. It's not about becoming a stadium-filling celebrity speaker overnight, but rather building a steady, profitable career by understanding the unique needs of associations.
Okay, so break it down for us. Why are associations such a prime target for speakers, especially compared to, say, chasing corporate gigs?
Think of it this way. Corporations, they're fickle.
The economy sneezes, they cut budgets.
First to go, usually the motivational speaker line item.
Associations, though, they're built around constant learning and networking.
They always have events regardless of the economic weather.
So associations are like the rock of the speaking world, no matter what the show goes on.
Precisely. And here's the kicker. Their audiences are full of decision makers, the very people who could hire you for future engagements. It's about playing the long game, building a reputation as the expert in your field.
And the book says associations are more willing to pay for that expertise, right? Like they're not trying to lowball you because they understand the value you bring.
Absolutely. It's like calling in a seasoned electrician to rewire your entire house versus asking your neighbor's kid who's pretty good with tools to take a look.
Associations are more likely to invest in proven expertise.
Makes sense. But the book also talks about this thing called positioning. And
Yeah.
apparently that's where a lot of speakers miss the mark. Why is nailing your positioning so important in the association world specifically?
Because a crowded marketplace demands a clear message. Just being a good speaker isn't enough.
You could be the world's foremost expert on, let's say, time management. But if you're marketing yourself as just another productivity guru, you're lost in the noise.
So it's about finding your niche within your expertise. Like instead of being a generic leadership speaker, you'd be the leadership expert for creative entrepreneurs or something.
Exactly. It's about owning a specific lane and becoming the go-to authority for that niche. The book actually breaks down different speaker tiers, from celebrities who get booked through big agencies to subject matter experts who often rely more on direct connections. Each tier has its own pricing structure, booking methods, and marketing strategies.
That makes so much sense. Now, there's one strategy this book highlights that I found super intriguing. It might sound a bit counterintuitive. They talk about writing articles.
Not to become a best-selling author, but as a tool for something else entirely. What's the method behind that madness?
Ah, yes. The authors call it making relationship bank deposits.
Instead of cold calling or spamming potential clients, you're offering genuine value up front.
So walk us through it. Let's say I'm an expert on, I don't know, cybersecurity for small businesses. How do I turn that expertise into these so-called relationship bank deposits?
You'd write high-quality articles specifically tailored for association magazines that cater to small business owners. Think 5 cybersecurity threats keeping you up at night, and how to sleep soundly again.
You're showcasing your knowledge in a way that directly benefits their audience.
Okay, I see how that establishes you as an authority.
Yeah.
But how do you go from providing free content to getting paid to speak? I imagine there's more to it than just slapping your contact info at the end of the article, right?
You're right. It's much more strategic than that. And this is where that relationship part really kicks in. The book actually provides a script for what they call the Columbo Close. Remember that detective show where Columbo always had just one more question?
Okay, I'm picturing it. Classic TV. So how does Columbo fit into all of this?
Imagine this. You've built a rapport with an association magazine editor by offering them stellar articles.
Right before ending a call, you casually ask, almost like an afterthought,
Say, who at your association usually handles speaker selection for your events? I'm just curious.
so you're not hitting them with a hard sell, you're sparking their curiosity. It's brilliant.
Exactly. That trust you've built by being a reliable source makes them far more likely to share that crucial information.
It's like you're planting a seed in their mind. Hey, this person provides great content and they're interested in speaking. Sneaky good. But let's shift gears for a second. This book isn't just about landing that one big keynote speech, right? It emphasizes making the most of each connection, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Once you're on their radar, it's about diversifying your offerings.
Instead of being a one-hit wonder with that keynote, You become a valuable resource they can tap into in multiple ways.
So you're saying it's about building a more holistic relationship with each association,
Exactly that. Think pre-conference workshops, breakout sessions.
even webinars. You're creating multiple touch points with their members, deepening your engagement, and of course, boosting your income potential.
It's like creating a funnel, where the keynote speech is just the beginning of a larger journey for attendees. Now, I'm curious about something. The book also mentions these things called association management companies, or AMCs.
What are those, and why should speakers care about them?
AMCs are like the behind-the-scenes heroes of the association world,
They manage multiple associations.
sometimes dozens. Instead of contacting each association individually.
You could connect with one AMC and potentially tap into their entire client roster.
Wow, that's a game changer. So how do you even begin to navigate this AMC landscape?
One great starting point is the AMC Institute.
Their website has a Find an AMC section that lets you search by specialty, location, size, all sorts of helpful filters.
So you could potentially find an AMC that manages a cluster of associations perfectly aligned with your niche. That's incredible. But I imagine it's not as easy as just sending them a generic email, right?
You're right. Just like with individual associations, building those relationships is crucial.
You want to connect with the right people within these companies, the account executives, the communications directors, the meeting planners, those who have their fingers on the pulse of upcoming events and speaker needs.
And I'm guessing those relationship bank deposits come into play here as well.
Absolutely. Providing valuable content like those targeted articles we talked about is a fantastic way to get your foot in the door and demonstrate your expertise.
Remember, AMCs are always looking for top-notch speakers to recommend to their client associations.
You want to be at the top of their list.
Now, let's talk about those articles for a moment. The book doesn't just advocate for any old article, right? They delve into a very specific strategy for crafting pieces that grab attention and get results. Walk us through it. What makes these articles so special?
They lay out a 6-step method,
Starting with the title.
and they're adamant about this. The title needs to have both a clear benefit and an irresistible hook.
So instead of a generic title like Tips for Effective Leadership, you want something more specific and intriguing, right? Like the one leadership skill that 90% of CEOs are missing.
You nailed it. You're piquing their interest and promising valuable insight right from the start.
Okay, so the title is key. What about the actual content of the article? What are some of the book's recommendations for making it stand out?
They stress the importance of grabbing the reader's attention with the very first sentence. Think of it as a mini hook within the larger hook of your title.
So no burying the lead.
Exactly. And to cater to busy readers, they recommend using bullet points.
Numbered lists anything that makes the information easily digestible,
I can see that. No one wants to wade through walls of text.
especially when they're short on time.
And here's a neat trick. To make those bullet points even more memorable, they suggest sloganizing, basically, coming up with catchy phrases that encapsulate your key points.
Okay, I like that. It's about distilling your expertise into bite-sized, memorable nuggets.
Exactly. And don't forget about the close they encourage, ending with a helpful offer. Maybe it's a downloadable checklist, a free webinar, or access to a private community related to the article's topic.
You're providing even more value, further solidifying your position as the go-to expert. But before we move on, I'm curious, how do you make sure these fantastic articles actually end up in the right hands?
That's where a bit of old school hustle comes in.
Oh.
So more.
The book emphasizes the importance of directly contacting Association magazine editors,
A quick email introducing yourself.
mentioning you've got some timely content that might be a good fit for their publication. So you're not sending them a full article unsolicited.
More like a tempting teaser.
Exactly. You're piquing their interest and offering to collaborate. It's all about building those relationships and positioning yourself as a valuable resource.
Makes sense. So we've covered associations, AMCs, killer article strategies. But there's another player in this world we haven't touched on yet. Speaker bureaus.
I imagine a lot of people might think going through a bureau is the way to get booked.
But this book suggests it's not always that simple.
You've hit the nail on the head. Bureaus can be helpful, but they're not the magic bullet some speakers might expect.
In fact, the book argues that bureaus often aren't interested until you've already established yourself in the market.
It's like that old saying, you need experience to get the job, but you need the job to get experience. So how do you even get on their radar in the first place?
It's a bit of a chicken and egg scenario.
But the key is to demonstrate your value outside the bureau system.
Build your reputation through those relationship bank deposits. Secure speaking engagements on your own and let your success speak for itself.
So it's about proving your worth in the market before approaching a bureau.
Precisely. Bureaus are businesses, after all,
They want to represent speakers who are in demand.
who have a track record of delivering engaging presentations that get rave reviews.
They're less likely to take a chance on someone who's just starting out.
That makes sense from a business perspective, but let's say you do catch the eye of a speaker bureau, maybe through a stellar recommendation or by consistently delivering killer presentations that have people talking. What are some things to keep in mind when working with a bureau?
The book highlights a few crucial points,
First, understand that bureaus typically take a commission.
often around 25–30% of your speaking fee.
That's a significant chunk, so you're giving up a portion of your earnings in exchange for their representation and connection.
Exactly. And it's important to weigh those costs and benefits carefully. Another point to consider is client ownership.
Bureaus often view the clients they introduce you to as their clients.
Even if you build a strong direct relationship down the line.
So you're essentially renting access to their network, which might have implications for future bookings and negotiations.
Precisely. It's essential to go into those relationships with a clear understanding of the terms and expectations on both sides.
This is all such valuable information. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. Finding those hidden pockets of opportunity within the association world.
The book emphasizes that there's a whole universe of events beyond the big national conferences.
Absolutely. And often, these smaller, more niche events can be even more lucrative and fulfilling for speakers.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are some examples of these often overlooked opportunities?
Think state chapters,
Regional meetings?
even executive councils within larger associations.
These groups often have more focused needs and may be more receptive to a speaker who truly understands their specific challenges.
So while everyone else is vying for those coveted national keynote slots, you're strategically targeting smaller events where you can really shine and build strong connections.
Exactly. And don't forget about online events.
Webinars, virtual summits, online workshops.
These have become increasingly popular, especially in the wake of the pandemic, and they offer fantastic opportunities to expand your reach and impact.
It's all about diversifying your approach and not putting all your eggs in one basket, right?
Precisely. This book encourages speakers to think outside the traditional box and explore every avenue. It's about building a sustainable business that can weather the ever-changing tides of the speaking industry.
This deep dive has been eye-opening. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this book, but it's clear that breaking into the association speaking world, while achievable, requires more than just being a good speaker, right?
Absolutely. It takes a strategic mindset, a deep understanding of the market, and a willingness to put in the work to build those all-important relationships.
This book provides the roadmap.
But it's up to the individual to take action, hone their message, and connect with those who need to hear what they have to say.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about creating win-win situations for both the speaker and the audience.
And with that, we come to the end of our deep dive into Booked, the Insider's Guide for Speakers Selling to Associations. If you're even remotely curious about the world of professional speaking, I highly recommend giving this book a read. It's packed with actionable advice, insightful strategies, and real-world examples that can help you navigate this exciting and often misunderstood industry.
It's a game changer for anyone looking to turn their expertise into a fulfilling and profitable speaking career.
And as you go about your day, here's a final thought to ponder. The book emphasizes the power of using articles as relationship bank deposits. What other unexpected assets or skills could you leverage to build relationships and stand out in a crowded marketplace?